Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Losing Sam changes, Jason Forever, True Love's death turns heart stone cold. General Hospital, GH. Spoilers reveal that fans are still reeling over the news that Kelly Monaco, Sam McCall, is out at the ABC soap. Plenty of viewers are fighting back in hopes of saving Monaco's job, but there are no guarantees at this point. We have to consider the possibility that Sam will indeed be written off the show, and how that shocker will affect the canvas. GH insiders have made predictions about Sam getting killed off, so that makes all of this even worse. Sam's loved ones will be rocked to the core if she indeed faces a grim fate, but we want to focus on Jason Morgan's, Steve Burton, reaction for a moment. Jason isn't known for huge emotional displays, but we can all see the pain in his eyes when he's faced with a crushing situation. You can bet Jason will be devastated if he's forced to say goodbye to Sam permanently. For starters, it'll be hard for Jason to think about parenting Danny Morgan, Asher Antonizin, on his own. Jason will certainly have a difficult time knowing how to handle Danny's grief. Of course, Jason will have to mourn the loss as well, so that'll affect him deeply if this fatal storyline plays out as expected. Losing Sam may change Jason forever, since she's arguably his true love. Jason has a special place in his heart for Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, but they have a different sort of relationship. Part of Jason may still be hoping for a Sam reunion, one that may never come to fruition if Sam's death is on the horizon. It'll be interesting to see how Jason deals with that harsh reality down the road. If Sam's a goner, Jason's heart may turn stone cold. There might be another love interest who can warm it back up sooner or later, but Jason definitely has some pain and anger in his future if Sam doesn't survive what's in store. General Hospital spoilers say Sam's awful outcome will shake up Port Charles, so stay tuned for updates on all the tiers and details. In the dimly lit corridors of Port Charles, a shadow falls over Jason Morgan, once the town's most formidable enforcer, now a man shattered by unimaginable loss. The news of Sam McCall's death spread like wildfire, and with it, the spirit of Jason Morgan crumbled, leaving behind a hollow shell of the man who was once her protector, confidant, and true love. The connection between Jason and Sam was never just about love, it was about survival. Together, they had faced countless enemies, escaped death more times than either could count, and forged a bond stronger than anything this world had thrown at them. But all the gunfights, all the near misses, could never prepare Jason for the ultimate heartbreak. The news came unexpectedly, ripping through Jason's heart like a bullet. Sam McCall, his soulmate, was gone forever. As the days turned into weeks, those who knew Jason well noticed the change. His once vibrant blue eyes, which held a quiet strength, were now clouded with grief and cold detachment. The warmth that Sam had brought into his life, the way she had softened his rough edges, was gone. In its place was a steely resolve, a man who seemed more machine than human, programmed only to carry out his duties with ruthless efficiency. The Jason Morgan that Port Charles once knew had vanished. Carly Corinthos, Jason's closest friend and confidant, was the first to see the darkness that had enveloped him. She tried to reach out, to offer comfort, but her words fell on deaf ears. Jason was unreachable, lost in a world where Sam's presence no longer existed. Every corner of his penthouse, every inch of the town, reminded him of her laughter, her touch, the way she had always known how to bring him back from the edge. Without Sam, there was nothing left to anchor him to the light. Sonny Corinthos, the mob boss and Jason's longtime mentor, was equally concerned. He knew all too well the cost of losing someone you love, and he could see the dangerous path Jason was on. "Jason, you don't have to do this alone," Sonny urged during one of their late-night meetings. But Jason's response was as cold as the expression on his face. "There's nothing left to talk about, Sonny. Sam's gone, and so am I." Jason threw himself into his work, the only thing that kept the pain at bay. He became more ruthless, more unyielding. The streets of Port Charles began to whisper of the stone-cold hitman who had once been a man of honor, now turned into a heartless enforcer. Enemies of the Corinthos organization trembled at the mere mention of his name, knowing that Jason's grief had made him unpredictable and far more dangerous than ever before. But it wasn't just the underworld that felt the impact of Sam's death. Jason's relationship with his family began to deteriorate. He distanced himself from his son, Danny, and daughter, Scout, unable to face the reminder of the life he had lost. Elizabeth Weber, the mother of his eldest son, Jake, tried to get through to him, pleading with Jason to be there for his children. But her words were met with the same icy detachment. "They're better off without me," Jason said, his voice devoid of emotion. Even Spinelli, Jason's trusted sidekick and tech genius, struggled to connect with the man who had once been his mentor and friend. The lighthearted banter that used to flow so easily between them was gone, replaced by a strained silence. Spinelli knew that losing Sam had broken Jason in a way that no one could fix, not even himself. But in the depths of his despair, Jason's pain festered into something darker. He began to push everyone away, shutting down emotionally and becoming a mere ghost of his former self. It was easier to bury the pain, to turn his heart to stone, than to face the reality of living in a world without Sam. He stopped caring about the consequences of his actions, whether it was in the mob business or in his personal life. All that mattered was the numbness that allowed him to keep going, one day at a time. As the months passed, Jason's transformation became more apparent to those around him. He was no longer the man who would fight for what was right, who would protect the innocent at all costs. Instead, he became a man who operated on cold logic, making decisions that served his own need to avoid feeling anything. He alienated those who had once been his allies, pushing Carly, Sonny, and even Spinelli away as he sank deeper into his grief. But the more Jason tried to distance himself from his emotions, the more they consumed him. The memories of Sam haunted him day and night. Her smile, her laughter, the way she had loved him despite all his flaws. Every corner of Port Charles held a memory of her, a reminder of the life they had planned together, now nothing more than a cruel dream. One night, unable to sleep, Jason found himself at the place where it had all begun, the pier where he and Sam had first met. The water lapped gently against the docks, and the moonlight cast a pale glow over the scene. Jason stood there, staring out at the water, lost in thought. He could almost hear her voice, see her standing beside him, her hand slipping into his as they watched the waves. "I'm sorry, Sam," Jason whispered into the night, his voice choked with emotion. "I wasn't there when you needed me the most. I couldn't save you." For the first time since her death, Jason allowed himself to feel the full weight of his grief. The tears he had held back for so long finally fell, mingling with the cold night air. But as the tears dried, so too did any trace of the man he used to be. In that moment, Jason made a vow to himself. He would never allow anyone to get close to him again. Love had only brought him pain, and he couldn't bear to go through it again. His heart, once filled with love and loyalty, was now encased in ice, impenetrable and unyielding. Jason Morgan, the man who had once loved with all his heart, was gone. In his place stood a man driven by a singular purpose: to survive in a world where love had no place, where emotions were a weakness he could no longer afford. And so, as the dawn broke over Port Charles, Jason walked away from the pier, leaving behind the last remnants of the life he had once known. The city might remember him as a hero, a protector, but in his heart, Jason knew the truth. He was nothing more than a man with a stone-cold heart, forever changed by the loss of the only woman he had ever truly loved.